here's my question. Since executive privilege is real, it's valid as long as it's not abused. Nixon tried to abuse it, which is why the court ruled against him in that case. If what the Democrats should have done, the Democrats in Congress should have done, is taken it to a court after they subpoenaed Navarro and he exerted this executive privilege on behalf of Trump. Instead of taking it to a court because they arrested him, does that render his arrest and the indictment illegal?
Yes, and I fully expect him to litigate this and to argue, and the court will ultimately adjudicate the question of executive privilege. But what the Biden DOJ is trying to do is put the cart before the horse. They're trying to throw him in jail before the matter is resolved. And by the way, this is not, you might think sitting at home, well, that's an abuse of power, but it only concerns assertions of privilege from executive privilege. And I'm not working in the White House, so why do I care? That doesn't impact me. Listen, the idea that you indict someone on the front end before resolving a plausible claim of privilege, that's a precedent that the Department of Justice could follow with all sorts of other privileges. If they subpoena you and say, if you're a lawyer, tell me what your client said. If they subpoena a priest and say, tell me what the person in confession said. If they subpoena you, Liz, and say, tell me what your husband said to you in private. All of those are recognized privileges. The attorney-client privilege, the priest-parishioner privilege, and the spousal privilege. Those are valid legal privileges. There are times, there are exceptions, there are instances where courts order them to be overcome, but they are important privileges in law. And what the Biden Justice Department is setting a precedent for doing is saying, we're going to start by throwing Liz in jail before any court adjudicates whether there's a privilege that protects her from complying with this subpoena that's been issued. That is, I think, a really dangerous precedent, but it's one where this DOJ has been profoundly politicized, and I think it is a very, very dangerous phenomenon. We've talked briefly about my next book that's coming out in September. Is called Justice Corrupted, How the Left has Weaponized the Legal System. This is another manifestation of exactly that.